Going back to our discussion earlier, again, there are 3 steps in writing the formula of ionic compounds. Again, yung step 1 is to write the symbols and the charges of the elements. Have discussed yung aluminum may 3 positive na charge. That would be -1. The next step is to crisscross the charges of the elements and then write them as subscript. So when you write them as subscripts, you disregard the symbol, yung positive or negative. Again, crisscross the charges of the element and write them as subscript. But when you write them as subscript, disregard the symbol or the charge ng element. So kung positive or negative, you don't need to write them. And then you don't need to write 1 as subscript. Automatic na pag walang nakalagay na subscript, given yan na 1 yung subscript niya. And then you have the formula for aluminum chloride. That would be AlCl3. So yung magnesium, we have 2 positive, oxygen ay 2 negative. Crisscross the charges, ayan. And then technically you will arrive at the right formula if you follow the rules, yung step 1 to 3. But we have to remember also that there is what we call yung law of multiple proportion. So, di ba sa law of multiple proportions, we have to write the smallest whole number possible to express yung ratio between the 2 elements involved. So, ngayon, pag ganyan na the subscripts, ito kasi monoatomic ions. So ngayon, kapag yung subscripts are divisible by the same number, we can simplify them. Remember, sa law of multiple proportions, kailangan simplified ang mga subscript. So para siyang fraction, naka-lowest term. So if that's the case, tama ang Mg2O2 kung ang ating pag-uusapan na yung steps. Okay, but if we follow the law of multiple proportion, we have to write it as MgO. So for this one, that would be mercury 1 oxide actually. Why? Ito yung isang technique when writing the name or when identifying the charge of transition elements. Kung ano ba dapat yung Roman numeral. So, ang technique lang dyan, you have to crisscross it back. Kasi di ba remember, before you write the formula, nag-crisscross kayo papunta dun sa subscript. Ngayon, para malaman nyo ngayon yung charge ng element, ng transition element, you have to crisscross it back. Di ba yung 2 na ito, it belongs to oxygen. So ngayon, ano ba yung charge ng mercury? Dahil wala itong subscript, 1 ito, 1 positive. Kaya siya, mercury 1 oxide. Okay, so itong magnesium phosphate, again, follow the rules in writing formula. So write muna yung symbols ng element as well as yung kanilang charges. So dito, polyatomic ions. Usually nangyayari yung parenthesis or ginagamit yung parenthesis if we have polyatomic ions. If we have here these symbols at saka yung charges na, ganun pa din, crisscross pa din. And then, write them as subscript. As you can see, bakit biglang nagkaroon ng parenthesis? Kasi, if you will write 2 without the parenthesis, it will not be phosphate anymore kasi maging PO42 siya. Okay, kaya kailangan ng parenthesis to separate it from the polyatomic ions. Remember, this will be, kumbaga, considered as one entity, itong polyatomic ion. So, kung ano dapat yung bagong subscript ng oxygen, ganoon din yung subscript ng phosphorus. So, you use parentheses. And then, ganun lang, you write it as one formula. Next one, if we have cupric sulfate. So, we have cupric is copper 2 positive. From, if you will look at if you will look at the charges ng transition element, so that will be Cu 2 positive. And then, sulfate is SO4 2 negative. Now, crisscross the charges. So, you can use parentheses. However, if you look at this one, divisible with the same number yung mga subscript nila, so you simplify. That would be CuSO4. You might be wondering bakit hindi sinimplify yung 4 dun sa SO4. Kapag naging CuSO2 na lang siya, hindi na siya sulfate. Ang kailangan nyo lang isimplify ay yung nasa labas ng parenthesis. Okay, kasi pag sinimplify nyo itong polyatomic ions, hindi na siya yung sulfate.